Sound devices in literature are techniques used by writers to create auditory effects and enhance the overall musicality of what they're writing. We are talking particularly but not exclusively about poetry here. This video is about sound devices. They're called sound devices or musical devices because they're all about how the words sound in a poem. Let's first talk about rhyme. Rhyme is the repetition of an accented vowel sound and the consonant sounds that follow it. Masculine rhyme involves only one syllable, like game and same. Feminine rhyme involves two or more syllables, as in the words slightly and politely. This pair rhymes on the stressed syllable light and the unstressed syllable li. You can often find words at the end of a rhyme in poetry rhyming with other words at the ends of other lines. This is called, unsurprisingly, end rhyme. The first stanza of The Bells by Edgar Allan Poe is full of sound devices, including end rhyme. The words bells, foretells, and wells all rhyme with each other. These rhymes are examples of perfect rhyme. That's when the repeated sounds rhyme exactly. But some rhymes aren't exact. They just kind of rhyme. This kind of rhyme is called slant rhyme, or near rhyme, approximate rhyme, oblique, half lazy, or spring rhyme. This is obviously a thing because it has so many names. Examples of slant rhyme? Well, like swan and moon, home and same, blue and blow, rain and run. In the Christmas carol Joy to the World, we have this stanza. He rules the world with truth and grace and makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness and wonders of his love. Before I understood slant rhyme, my brother and I used to always belt out and wonders of his Louvre to make each other laugh. It never failed to crack us up. We've been talking about end rhyme when the rhyme is at the end of the line, but there's also this thing called internal rhyme when the rhyme is within a line. Let's go back to the last line of Edgar Allan Poe's poem, The Bells. To the moaning and the groaning of the bells. That's internal rhyme. Alliteration is the repetition of initial consonant sounds in nearby words. Initial means the first one, the first consonant sound. In part 3 of The Bells by Edgar Allan Poe, we have these lines. Oh, the bells, 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 what a tale their terror tells. A caution here, bells, bells, bells is the repetition of the initial consonant sound, but we wouldn't call that an example of alliteration, or assonance, or rhyme, even though it fits the definition of these. We'd call that repetition of the word bells. But the second line here is alliteration. Tale, terror, and tell all start with the T sound. One more caution. Alliteration is the repetition of sounds, not letters. So the word there is not part of the alliteration in this line. It starts with a T, but it doesn't make the T sound. Assonance is the repetition of vowel sounds within nearby words. Let's look for examples of assonance in the second stanza of The Bells. A real obvious example of assonance is in the 6th line. From the molten golden notes. That's a repetition of the long O sound. And a little bit later we find these lines. And all in tune, what a liquid ditty floats, to the turtle dove that listens while she gloats. You can hear 5 short I sounds in the words in, liquid, ditty, and listens. That's assonance. Consonance is the repetition of consonant sounds, especially at the end of stressed syllables. But remember, it's just the consonant sounds. The vowels don't sound the same. If they did, well, then we'd be dealing with some kind of rhyme, right? An example can be found in the first lines of the second stanza of The Bells. Hear the mellow wedding bells, golden bells. You can hear the repeated L sound in the words mellow, golden, and bells. So before we go on to the rest of the sound devices, let's get a little bit sciencey with a visual to show the relationship between alliteration, assonance, consonance, and rhyme. Let's consider these. 2 words. They each start with a consonant. There's a vowel in the middle, and then the ending consonant. Consonant, vowel, consonant. Alliteration is the repetition of the initial consonant sound. Assonance is the repetition of the vowel sound. And consonance is the repetition, usually of the terminal sound. And rhyme is the repetition of the final vowel and consonant sound. So there are a few more sound devices that we need to cover. Onomatopoeia is when a word imitates the sound. Hiss, sizzle, buzz, clang. The whole poem by Edgar Allan Poe, The Bells, is heavily reliant on onomatopoeia. First of all, the poem has 4 different sections, and each section is about a different kind of bell. Section 1 is about little silver sleigh bells. Section 2 is about golden wedding bells. Section 3 is about bronze alarm bells. And Section 4 is about iron bells that are associated with death and mourning. I've just got to toss in here that I think this poem is about 4 different types of experiences that we human beings have. We all experience simple joy, significant celebration, crises that disrupt our life, and encounters with death. And this poem is about these. Anyway, back to the onomatopoeia. In the first part, the bells are silver and small and happy, and the lines of the first section are filled with those kinds of sounds. The little happy silver bells tinkle. The word tinkle is an example of some simple onomatopoeia. The word makes the sound. But onomatopoeia is cooler and complexer than that. Notice all the short I sounds, and the T sounds, and the K sounds. These are all in the word tinkle, but they're spread throughout this section. These sounds, taken together, sound like the jingling and tinkling of small, light, happy little silver bells. So onomatopoeia isn't just in single words, but sounds that are spread through lines. The golden bells in the second part sound different than the silver bells in the first, and the sound of these golden bells is present in the sounds of the words that Poe uses to describe them. From the molten golden notes, and all in tune, what a liquid ditty floats to the turtle dove that listens while she gloats on the moon. There's no simple onomatopoeia in these lines, but taken together we hear the sounds of these bells. There are still some short I and T sounds, but they are combined with long vowel sounds. Molten golden notes, and dove, and on, and tune, and moon. The sound of the golden bells are communicated through the sounds of the words and the lines. This whole section is packed with the sounds of the golden wedding bells of celebration. The brazen bells of the third part have a very different sound, and so do the lines that describe them. In a clamorous appealing to the mercy of the fire, and a mad expostulation with a deaf and frantic fire, leaping higher, higher, higher with a desperate desire, and a resolute endeavor, now to sit or never by the side of the pale-faced moon. Can you hear what these bells sound like? The best way to hear the sound of a poem is to read it out loud. Always read poetry out loud. You will pick up a lot more that way, because the sound is important. And the iron bells of morning in the last section, they sound different still. At the melancholy menace of their tone, for every sound that floats from the rust within their throats is a groan. By now you've got this. You can hear the sad sound of the bells and the sounds of the words that are used to describe them. Yes? That's onomatopoeia. There are two words that are often used to describe the sound of a passage or a poem. These words are euphony and cacophony. A passage is said to be euphonious if it is pleasant sounding, and cacophonous if it's harsh sounding. Did you notice that the word euphony is a euphonious word? It sounds pleasant. And the word cacophony, you notice that that's a little harsh sounding with those K sounds? It makes it easier to remember which is which. In the Bells by Edgar Allan Poe, the golden bells of the second section are the most euphonious, and the brazen bells of the third are the most cacophonous. So read those sections out loud and you'll hear what I mean. All these sound devices contribute to the overall auditory experience of a poem and help to convey emotions and themes and ideas. There's more to talk about when it comes to sound, and I will be making a video one day on the relationship between sound and meaning, so you can look forward to that one. But for now, thank you, and we'll see you next time.